Hey guys, welcome to another weekly draft video here on the Neat Zone Magic channel. Back with some more Battle for Zendikar. So I'll be with you when the first pack opens. Alright, this is what we have in our first pack. A Smoldering Marsh. These used to be worth a lot like during release, but they're not worth a huge amount now, but I may still take it. Makes it easier to pay for future drafts and so forth. Yeah, this one's actually only worth 2 tickets. So I'm a little less inclined than usual to take it, I think. So, I mean, the nice thing about them is they do make it easier for you to splash, which is kind of hard to do in this format unless you pick up Evolving Wilds. And that is nice, a nice ability that those give you. Gideon's Reproach is a pretty good card that's in this pack. And I also like Lifespring Druid pretty good. But I think most people, I prioritize removal over things like Lifespring Druid. So I think I'm going to take the Reproach over the Marsh. The Marsh is tempting, but we'll just take the Reproach and see what happens. Okay, Ugin's Insight is pretty good in basically any deck that, isn't ultra aggressive. And I think it's probably what I take here. Doesn't mean we're going to be blue-white. Doesn't really mean anything, but it's the strongest card in this pack by a lot. Demon's Grasp is an okay removal spell. Another Lifespring Druid is fine. Shadow Glider, Valka Predator, Sludge Crawler, Blister Pod. These are all very playable, good cards. But yeah, we'll take the Insight. Sanctum of Ugin doesn't really want. Royal Spout being here is nice, considering the first 2 cards we picked up. So we could move into like a blue-white control deck. It can be like an Awaken deck if you manage to pick up some Halomar Tidecallers, but basically it's just a blue-white Skies deck with a lot of tempo swings like Royal Spout. And I think I take Royal Spout here, given what our first 2 picks were. And maybe we wheel one of these, which I'd be fine with. So yeah, we'll take a Spout. Pretty happy. Our first 3 cards are all on the higher level of power, especially for like Gideon's Reproach's rarity. But Ugin's Insight and Royal Spout are both very good. The thing about Ugin's Insight is you do have to have like something in play. I mean, you don't have to. Luckily, it still draws you 3 cards, but it's nice to be able to scry. Sheer Drop. We could just keep picking up good removal if they're going to keep passing it to us, and I think we just take Sheer Drop here over Core Blade Whirl. Blue is not looking ultra open, so that might be a problem, but white's looking pretty open, I think. The Blade Whirl and okay, sorry about that. Apparently there was a trade request somewhere, but anyway, Core Blade Whirl and Sheer Drop and Felidar Cub are all playables in white. But yeah, we'll take the Sheer Drop. It's better if you're not in a super aggressive deck. Sheer Drop's been a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. I think a lot of people did than it is. It's really only good in a deck where you're sort of playing control and you can afford, your opponent's willing to swing into you because you don't have a stronger board than they do. But when you can awaken it and everything, it's pretty amazing. So, but we'll see what other cards we get. There's a Drana's Emissary still here, which I'm pretty willing to take a flyer on, especially given the caliber of the rest of the cards in this pack. We may end up not running Ugin's Insight, but the Drana's Emissary means black-white's pretty open. Not hugely so, though, because it's early on, and a lot of people don't want to commit to 2 colors early. But I think I take the Emissary. I mean, Ghostly Sentinel is probably the best card for like the deck we have right here if it ends up going that way. But taking the Drana's Emissary makes it so that we can go a couple different routes. And maybe we can even splash for it. Breaker of Armies. Not really what I'm looking for. I think I just take a Courier Griffin here. Goes well with both potential archetypes that we're going to go into, so it's a pretty good pick. It's a good flyer. It gains us life, and so gaining life's good for black-white, and flying and gaining life is also good in the blue-white deck, but obviously life gain's more important in the black-white deck. So, yeah, white's definitely looking open, so I'm glad that I took the other cards I did early. I mean, the Insight may not make our deck, but I'll probably try pretty hard to splash either Royal Spout or Drana's Emissary. They're both good no matter when you play them, so they're not awful splashes. Forerunner of Slaughter's still around. Felidar Cub. There's also Azada, who is an interesting card to have if you can pick up some Sure Strikes and stuff like that, but I don't really see us going down that road. I think I just take a Felidar Cub here, probably. I mean, I guess I could take a flyer on Zada. I mean, Felidar Cub's not amazing. It might make our main board, but there's, I'd probably cut it 50% of the time. But at this point, it doesn't look like that's what we're going to be wanting to splash. So I think I just let the Zada go, even though it has some pretty big potential. Ooh, gosh, maybe red's open, huh? Touch of the Void and Outnumber are still here, so I'm kind of inclined to pick up a Touch of the Void here if red's that open. There is an Undo Great Horn, but Touch of the Void's very good, so we're going to take that and see what happens going forward. There's an Undo Champion, so now white's really not looking all that open. We could just move into into red-white if we want to, and splash black or blue or both if we end up with some crazy fixing or something. I think I take the champion here. The rest of the cards in this pack just aren't very good, I don't think, so kind of wish I had Zada now since we're going this route. Here I think I pick up Stonehaven Medic. There's still a chance we end up in the life gain deck, and it's probably one of the better life gain enablers because it's repeatable every turn, so I think I'm happy to take it. Sanctum of Ugin's still there, no big surprise. Blue really doesn't look open, so sad to say Ugin's Insight probably isn't going to make our deck. We don't really want Sanctum of Ugin. I think we could take a Cascade. I mean, we need a blue source, but we probably want an island more than we want a Cascade. I think I just take the rare here. Just to take it, because I don't already have one. Here, I mean, I guess I'll take a Reckless Cohort. I doubt it makes our deck. Dominator Drone still being here means the red-black archetype may be really open, but I'll go ahead and take the Cohort. I like Myers Malice a fair bit, but Volcanic Upheaval is a better sideboard card, and we're looking more and more like we're in red. And now I'll start taking basic lands because they're nice in this set. So we could go a lot of routes here. We may have the most pieces, I'd say, for the black-white archetype, but black hasn't seemed hugely open. Like red and white have both seemed pretty open. Don't want Prism Array. It's not really what we're looking for. Nettle Drone's pretty good, even if you're not in the colorless deck, although he's obviously better if you are. Smite the Monstrous is good. We could decide to just go full-on into like a black-white ally life gain deck right now. By taking something like Colostria Healer. If we see some of them later, if some wheel, we may take them. Ruination Guide is a very good card, and if this were like pack one, pick one, it's what I would take out of this pack, I think, over everything else. It's just a good body, it has ingest, and it puts you don't have to be in the archetype for it to be good, but it is good in that archetype. So I'm either thinking Smite the Monstrous or Nettle Drone here. I've already got some pretty good removals, so I'm kind of leaning towards the drone. Even if it's only pinging my opponent for one a turn, and is a 3-mana 3/1, I think I'm okay with that. Channeler's pretty good too, though. And it would make it into any deck we make. So I may just take it, since right now it's not clear what archetype we want to be in. So yeah, I'll take the Channeler. It's good in anything, so. Okay, Lantern Scout says it's time to move into allies. And we can even do some life gain stuff with it. So we definitely take the Lantern Scout. Our second color is not clear, but we're definitely taking a Lantern Scout out of this pack. Angel of Renewal is also nice. I would like to take it, but Lantern Scout's obviously better. And yeah, we're definitely moving into allies if we're getting past Lantern Scout, I think. Makindi Patrol's good, but there's another Touch of the Void, which I like. So these are looking a little less likely. Looks kind of like we end up in red-white allies, which I'm okay with. I would like to try to splash Drana's Emissary. It is an ally after all, and it's just a good card. So we'll probably try to make that happen, but here we take the Touch of the Void for sure. Stocking up on more removal. Oh, Endless One. Why, man? Why would someone not want that? I mean, it's very good, and it's what we're going to take here. Shadow Glider, Smite the Monstrous are both worth considering, but Endless One is pretty good, but you can play it whenever, which is pretty awesome. So I take him here, I think. I've seen people sort of analyze it, and he's like at his best if you cast him for 4 or 5 mana, but in the late game, he's a great top deck, unlike a lot of creatures, because he's as big as you need him to be, and I like that about him too. So Lithomancer's Focus is a good trick. We definitely want to be picking up more creatures someday. for it to really work out. I like Rot Shambler in some decks. I also like Incubator Drone a lot, maybe more than most people. But I think we take the focus. It's pretty clear we're in white. Other than that, it's not super clear. But I would not mind picking up, like going black-white or splashing anyway for it. Ooh, Brutal Expulsion. Kind of want that. I also like Clutch of Currents a lot. And here is a card that's an ally. And if we cut our red, we do lose 2 Touch of the Voids. But we hang on to a lot of other good removal. So I'm kind of considering doing that. I don't think we can pull off Brutal Expulsion. The Vestige is a fine card in our deck, but not amazing. Slide Runner's good. Reckless Cohort's not. So like we're losing Touch of the Void potentially if we move into the life gain deck. And we're losing Ondu Champion. But I think if Kalashria Nightwatch is still here, and we already have a number of enablers for the Nightwatch, I think I'm just going to take it and try to go black-white here. Yeah. So it would be nice for us to be able to run at least 1 Touch of the Void, so we'll see if we can. But we're also picking up more removal here, like Smite the Monstrous. Another Channeler. It's interesting. I think since we just lost some removal, if we really are going black-white, I think I'd like to take the Smite, even though it's, you know, conditional removal. There's a lot of creatures in the format it can blow up, so. Tandem Tactics is good. So is Myers Malice, if we end up going that way, but we'll take the Tactics here. Fortified Rampart isn't exactly what our deck wants to be doing, but I don't think it hurts. Our deck may end up being a little more controlling than most black-white ally decks. We do have a lot of good removal, and locking up the ground doesn't seem bad. That's also not amazing with stuff like Lantern Scout or Tandem Tactics, but we may end up keeping it in our deck. Okay, I think I just take a Geyser Field Stalker here. He's fine. Nothing incredible, but we'll take it. Here, I think I'll take a Giant Mantis away from someone. It's good against our deck and probably the best card left in that pack anyway. And here, I think I just take a Swamp. I mean, we could still back up and move into red if we decide to. I'll take a Reclaiming Vines. No, I won't. I'll just take some more basics. But it's pretty tempting when we have life gain enablers to be running like as many of the other cards that care about gaining life as possible, and most of them are black. And most of them are also allies, so they work well with Lantern Scout. So I think I like moving into the black-white deck. Swallow Growth still being there's kind of nuts. I mean, it's a pretty good combat trick. We have one that's better, you know, and Swell of Growth isn't in our color anyway, but I don't think of Swell of Growth as a card that should be the last card left in a pack, you know, as much as I do some other things. But, you know, it's whatever. At some point, I need to look at how many basic lands I've gotten from this and see if I have, like, enough to make a commander deck. I want to make sure I have 40 of every basic land. Or probably don't quite need 40 because I usually run non-basics as well, but a lot would be good by the time this set's over. And this is Renewal, not really what we want. Retreat to Hagra is interesting for our deck, since we do want to be gaining life. There's also an Evolving Wilds, which could enable us to splash, like Royal Spout or whatever. Tandem Tactics is here, but there's also a Complete Disregard, which is just another good removal spell that we're pretty happy to take. And I think it's what we take here. The Evolving Wilds is the next best thing for our deck, I think. And the Retreat to Hagra is worth considering, but we don't have a huge number of cards that care about life gain yet. So it's not incredible. So yeah, I'm just going to take the Complete Disregard. Good removal spell. So another Royal Spout and an Omnath. That's pretty exciting. But on the whole, this pack not super exciting for us, even if we think about red. We could just take another Tandem Tactics. We could take a Unified Front, I guess, which would trigger our Lantern Scout multiple times. But that's our only card with Rally at this point, right? Yeah. So it's not amazing. How much is Omnath worth? That's definitely something I should be thinking about. He is a mythic after all. Let's see here. Not much. If he were foil, he'd be worth a lot. Okay, so we either want Tandem Tactics, Unified Front, or Royal Spout, but I don't think we can swing splashing for Royal Spout super easily. We could move back into a blue-white deck, certainly. We do have Ugin's Insight. And it may be worth considering if we pick up something like Royal Spout. So I think I'm going to take it, just on the off chance we end up being able to splash blue, or we end up moving back into blue for one reason or another. Because the pack on the whole just wasn't that strong for us. Neither is this one. Ruin Processor is okay to have in a deck, but I think our deck doesn't really need something like that. We've already got Endless One and Flyers. So I think I just take a McKinley Patrol or a Bone Splinters here. I think I just go with the Patrol. More Rally is good, a good synergy to have. Here we go. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. Something else that cares about life gain. And it's also an ally, if I'm not mistaken. I think every card that cares about life gains an ally, so it is. And that's good, so we'll take it. I do like Silent Skimmer. I think that's probably the best card in here for us. We could take another McKinley Patrol. More ally trigger stuff is good, but Silent Skimmer is just a good card. It's better in a colorless deck, of course, but I'm perfectly happy to take it here. Sire of Stagnation. Well, wow. That is tempting. Like, if we could splash blue, we'd have a pretty sweet deck, but it's not looking like it'll be possible. I'm thinking I'm just going to pick up another Lithomancer's Focus, because it's a good trick out of this pack. We could move back into red, I guess, but I think our black-white deck is sort of solidifying now, and yeah, I'll just take the Focus. Sludge Crawler is fine. Another Patrol, I guess, has better synergy in our deck than anything in here. But Sludge Crawler is a good one-drop. I like it a lot. It's overperformed for me in my experience, but I'll just take another McKinley Patrol. Not the most exciting of allies, but it's a fine one. Another Channeler wouldn't hurt. We don't have like a top of the curve, but we do have Endless One, and it's just a decent body. In general, we could also just take a Culling Drone, take the 2-drop, which is worth considering, certainly. We could also take Angelic Gift, which would not be bad in our deck. Most of our threats do not have flying. Do I want a second Channeler? Yeah, I think I'll just take another 2-drop in Culling Drone. Another Tandem Tactics, and here's Ulamog's Nullifier. So yeah, blue-black is ended up being very open. We took Royal Spouts away from someone, if nothing else. Do I want another Tandem Tactics? It seems okay. I mean, it's another good combat trick. I guess we only have one so far. I was thinking we had two, so I'll take it. Probably not running Fortified Rampart main board. I wouldn't imagine we would, the way things are looking anyway. Mindraker, we do have a little bit of Ingest and a little bit of Exile, but he's not that great, but I think he's what we take here. He's what's most likely that we actually play in this pack, so we'll take him. Altar's Reap isn't bad, but it's better in a black-green deck than anything. I think I'll take it. I doubt we play it, but we could side it in anyway. Mortuary Mire's not a bad late pickup. And a Geyserfield Stalker is not awful either, but I probably don't want to play more than one of them. And now we'll take a Forest. So we ended up going kind of all over the place, but I think our black-white deck ended up coming together all right. We didn't get as many synergies as we'd like. Looked like blue-black was the most open, so that's probably where we should have gone. But I didn't see super clear indicators of that, especially in Pack 1 when I picked up an Ugin's Insight and then never really saw another blue card worth picking up. But, yeah, so we need to cut a few things from our deck. But we do have a lot of ways to gain life. And 2 cards that care about that. It would be nice to have a few more, but hey. I think I probably take out a Felidar Cub. Although, does it have more upside in our deck than Culling Drone? That's the question. I think maybe it does. It also lets us play more white mana because the bottom of our curve is so white. Don't really want Altar's Reap main board either. Against an opponent with a lot of removal is when Altar's Reap can be good, but that's about it. Is this an 18 land deck? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure it is. We do have one card. Yeah, I guess I either you know, playing 2 Geyser Field Stalkers with 17 lands isn't great, and cutting 1 and playing 18 is probably about the same. Question is whether I want to cut like Mindraker and put in a Culling Drone. I'm not a huge fan of Mindraker. Like, he's good if you're in the colorless deck and you're ingesting a lot. He's a little better, but even then, he's not awesome. So I think I'd rather have a Culling Drone main board than anything. That other options that we have. These 2 Touch of the Voids would have been nice, but we ended up with plenty of removal, I think, anyway. So I think I'm okay with that. But I think I have to put. I think I'd rather have Culling Drone than I would Geyserfield Stalker. We don't have any way to take advantage of ingest, but then Mindraker, I mean. But it's just our deck is pretty aggressive. We have combat tricks that are really effective, and we want to be able to have creatures out as quickly as possible to make use of them, I think. So I think I like that plan. So yeah, this is our deck. We kind of ended up with some sweet cards that we ended up not being able to splash, like Ugin's Insight and Royal Spout, but we also ended up with sweet cards in our deck, like Lantern Scout and Endless One. So yeah, so do we want Sanctum of Ugin? I don't think we do. We have Endless One and Kozilek's Channeler. Yeah, we don't want that at all. I couldn't remember if it was the one that added more mana if you controlled a certain number of lands, which I guess wouldn't be awful within this one, but it's not amazing either. Okay, I think 10-7's probably about right. Let me look at something here. We have double black, 1 double black, and no double whites. So that gives, yeah, 10 white sources, 8 black sources seems reasonable. So I think this will be our deck. Black-white, aggro, allies, life gain kind of deck. It should be pretty fun. I wish I'd picked up that core Blade Whirl early. That's all I can say. But early on, it didn't look like this is what we'd be doing. So you never know. It's always good to be able to pivot, though. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you'll enjoy the next few videos of me